Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Well, today I'm going to be taking a look, another look at the Holystone HS320 bubble drone. Now, if you follow my channel, you're probably like, Ryan, why are you posting another video on this drone? You just reviewed it. Well, that's because I found out that my bubble drone, the original one I reviewed, was defective. It would constantly crash to the ground. I thought maybe this drone just wasn't very good, but I caught Quadcopter 101's video and he had no problems at all, and he commented back to me. One of the legendary drone reviewers out there, been at it a long time, and he said, hey, check these things, mine's fine. And of course it just that mine was defective, so I felt this drone deserved a fair shake. I've done some testing with it already, and this one flies just fine. So if you want to see everything that comes with this drone, the table review portion, I'm going to put that at the end of the video just like I did with the original one. It'll just be the same exact table review. But obviously, we just want to get to the flight to see how this little bubble drone works. As you can see here, it's got this bubble mechanism here, and this will spin and blows air, and the bubbles come flying out in the bottom. You have a tank in here that you put the solution in. You actually make the solution, though you can just use pre-made solution. It's got some white eyes, and I'll step into the shade here. You can't see those LEDs very well. They don't even probably show up very good here, but white LEDs in the front and a red in the back to help with orientation, because this just has altitude hold. There's no GPS, there's no optical flow, there's no camera. So a pretty basic drone, but it does have brushless motors. That's a big help for providing the lift, and it has a 1S LiPo. So I'd rather see it 2S, but that was one of the problems in the original video. I thought that it was underpowered, and it is a little underpowered, but it's fine. Just it would be ideal if this was on, available on 2S. Anyway, that's enough on the overview. Again, I'll throw the table view at the end of this video, so if you want to check that out, you get a closer look, feel free to do that. So let's go ahead and get this up in the air, and I'll let you guys see how this drone flies. So let me grab the controller here. It's a decent little controller. You do have 3 speed rates. I like to go, let's see what rate we're in. I like to go into the highest rate to begin with, though there's almost no wind today, so you could go in a lower rate. You turn your bubbles on here, you get your speed rates, and it has this spinning mode, which I'll try to demonstrate as well. Do an auto takeoff, you just long press the auto takeoff. I notice this drone will tend to kind of tilt a little. You kind of let it settle down for a minute, but it's really stable right now. I have trimmed it up a little bit. Now to start the bubbles, I'm just going to press that bubble button. You'll hear it blowing, and there they go. I got about a half a tank of fluid in there, hopefully enough for this video. This would be great for a party, kid's birthday party or something. You want to the kids chase bubbles. And since this drone actually is very stable, there's no problems with that. My original review, I was worried. Obviously, the drone kept crashing to the ground. That'd be a safety hazard, but that was just that drone. Now I've seen other people fly it. I know that was just a fluke thing, and I wouldn't worry about it. But yeah, it's a pretty free flyer, and this is the highest rate. Now you do need to have some skill, practice flying. You're not going to just pick up this drone and fly it if you've never flown a drone, because it doesn't have GPS. It's not going to essentially fly itself. Now we can go into the lower rates here, and you'll see it's more docile, less pitch, so less forward tilt. But that's going to make it. I'm going to take it up here because I didn't want to hit into the house there. I went back to the highest rate, but because you're gonna have trouble fight even a little bit of wind if you're in the lowest rate. There's a yaw is slower. There's the middle rate. The yaw is definitely quicker, and there's that third rate. A little bit of wind picking up here from right to left, from south to north, so that's definitely affecting it. But in the highest rate, we got no problems. Much more aggressive pitch. And since you're not filming, there's no camera, then there's really not a lot of reason to be in those lower rates, unless you're just afraid you're going to go too fast. But it has to be completely calm, because that lowest rate is going to struggle if you are getting any wind. I'd recommend flying at least the second rate. I mean, maybe add a bubble solution there. You can see a few bubbles going, but I'm going to turn it off. Obviously, the flight time is going to be longer on this drone if you're not using the bubbles. If you're not using the bubbles, I would just take the tank out especially if it has any fluid in it, because you reduce the weight of the drone. And just you're not powering the fan if you turn it off. There's a little cover you'll see in the table review that goes, you can snap over that, but I would not put that on while you're flying. It's very loose fitting. I don't know why they even included it, because it will fall off while you're flying for sure. But just in terms of just fun flying, bubbles or no bubbles, this is what you want. This is something to be great to practice with. And this drone's not super expensive. There'll be a purchase link to Amazon where you can pick this drone up. I think it was around $60 after coupon the last I checked, but that stuff is very, it changes all the time. So that price may not be accurate. It could be, it could be 80. Whatever it is, the price originally I remember was, I think, again, it was around 60 at that time when I, like 2 weeks ago when I reviewed the defective unit. And I thought that was a pretty good price for a brushless drone. It looks really cool. I like the green, the look of it. It's a cool look. It's a green and white, brushless. And then you're adding the whole bubble mechanism. You're getting a lot for the money. It's a very good deal, in my opinion. Very unique drone. I hand it to Holy Stone because you just don't, it's hard to get innovative drones. They've kind of hit a wall. There's not much else they can do except for the expensive drones. They constantly are, revising and adding better cameras and sensors. But just for a toy drone, I mean, the only thing they could do at this point would, obviously they could put GPS on this, but in terms of new type features, bubble drone I've never seen before. This is a new one. They got a gel ball blaster I've reviewed before that was not brushless, I don't think. It may have been brushless, but it was very clunky. But I've never seen a bubble drone. This is the first I've seen, so kudos to Holy Stone for coming up with something that I think younger people are going to like. Me, personally, I'd buy this drone just to fly it like this. I think at the price, it's still fine. Even if it didn't have bubbles, probably. It used to be you couldn't even get a brushless drone for much under $100. Now you can get some of the really dirt cheap ones on AliExpress for $20 to $30, but they're not as nice as this one. This one flies better than those. Alright guys, I think that wraps it up. I'm not going to do a total flight time on this again. Like I said, I'm going to be taking down the other video, I'm sure, because I don't want people to think, hey, you shouldn't buy this. I'm going to go ahead and do an auto landing here. This is a great flyer. Again, I think I'll remove the original review. It doesn't have a lot of views anyway, because I don't think it's fair for someone to, if they catch that video, they're going to think, well, this thing's a piece of junk. If they don't watch anybody else, they maybe don't buy this when they actually wanted to, because this actually flies great. I have zero complaints. That's rare. I almost always will find something that I don't like about a drone, and to go from a drone that I thought was absolute junk because mine was effective to, wow, this is perfect, is unforeseen. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I don't have any complaints. Usually there's something, and everything about this drone, the way it flies, the bubble function, the stability, just the fun of flying a drone that's pretty much a free flyer. The only thing that slows it down is altitude hold. That's very, very rare. So I think this is a fantastic drone, and again, I think the price is fine if it's not gone up a lot since I last checked it. So I have zero complaints. So if you're interested in this, there'll be a purchase link down in the video description to Amazon where you can pick this up. If you like this kind of content and you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Click the bell, that way you're notified when I do upload new videos. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day. This is the Holy Stone HS320. Now, this is a brushless drone, but you probably can tell in the box it does something really unique. Right here. Fly and blow bubbles. That's right. Gotta hand it to them. Drone stuff is just, drones in general have kind of hit a wall in terms of creativity and coming up with new ideas. Even you look at DJI and such, it gets more and more difficult to come up with new ideas. And Holy Stone and said, hey, let's do something for the kids. Let's throw a bubble machine onto one of these drones. I think it's pretty cool. Now, an older person, me, an adult, we're probably not going to buy this for the bubbles. But if you got kids, grandkids, you want to fly this around and blow bubbles, I think that's going to be pretty darn cool. And you don't need to fly it with the bubbles or the bubble container in it. So it's not like you need to fly it that way, because I have a feeling with brushless motors that this thing is going to probably be a pretty good flyer. There's no camera or anything. I like that. I want to just fly around kind of like I did in the old Bugs 3 from MJX. I want to be able to fly a brushless drone and not have to worry about anything. And if you do the bubbles, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. Now this thing weighs without the solution in it. Now I've not weighed it with the solution, but without the solution it was only 210 grams. So I'm hoping with the solution in, I'll need to weigh it here after I get the solution in it before we fly it, that it still is under 250. I'm hoping it is, but until I weigh it, I can't say for certain. But if that's the case, you won't need to put any FAA registration, or I have remote ID on it. The solution does go down here in the bottom. Let me go ahead first and fold the drone out and let you see what it looks like. I'll fold it out, because I really like this color scheme on this drone as well, with kind of the fake eyes. I'm suspecting those probably light up. Those probably have LEDs in there. And that's what the drone looks like all folded out. So it looks pretty unique and pretty cool. Now your LiPo batteries, they actually go on the top. And you get 2 of them with this kit, at least the one that they sent me. And it charges off a USB-C here by my finger. And this is only a 1S LiPo though, which is fine considering how light this is. And it is 1800 milliamp hour, 3.7 volt. Now again, on the bottom, this is the whole bubble mechanism. Now this little panel comes off, and this is where the bubbles will blow out. I would leave this off, because even though it goes on here, it is really, I mean, look at that. If you're not going to use the bubbles, still keep this off, because it is just going to fall off when you fly and you're going to lose it. But you swing this open here, and then this will open up, this little panel removes, and then it has this little tape on here that, you know, it's a handle basically to pull this little reservoir out. And this is where you're going to put the bubble solution. So it goes in like this, and then you just push it back in there once you fill it up. I'll explain a little more on how you fill it up, because they do give you an extra container, an extra tank, I should say, for this drone. But otherwise, besides brushless motors, there's no GPS, there's no optical flow, so it's going to be a free flyer. It's just like, again, I'm kind of comparing it to the Bugs 3 just because that's kind of how it is, except for the Bugs 3, if you're familiar with it, it didn't have anything, not even altitude hold. This does have altitude hold, so it's not going to be a free flyer as much as that, and it may be nothing like it, but I'm hopeful that it could just be a fun flyer, even if you're not messing with the bubbles. So like I said, they give you an extra tank. They give you some props and your charging cables and stuff in here. You know, in case you need to replace the propeller. Your full instruction manual here, and then they give you a quick start manual right here as well. Now here is your little bottle you're going to use to fill up this container. And here are some of the packets. So if I remember correctly from the instructions, you're going to take 2 of these packets. They're each 10 milliliters. And you're going to put them into this bottle and then fill it up the rest of the way with water. Kind of mix it up. Now I think if you just bought some pre-mixed bubble solution at Walmart or something, that should work as well if you don't want to mess with filling these up. And then the silver looks to me like they just give you some extra of that handle strap tape, like in case it rips, if you need to repair that, you know, just pulling the tank out of the drone. But that's how you mix it up. Once you get it in there, then you're going to take this, and then this little piece here pulls off, and then you're going to fill it all the way up. Then you put this back on like that, and then of course you're just going to put it into the drone, and it should be ready to use. They also give you some prop guards. They look cool, they match the drone, but I'm not going to mess with that. That's really for a beginner, because you're going to be flying this outdoors. It's too big to fly inside, really, and you don't want to have bubble solution going everywhere. Prop guards are just
notorious for, if you're a new, maybe it helps you, but if you hit a tree or something, they become really great hangers. And then the drone ends up getting caught up in the tree easier. And then you have to have the adventure of getting it out. So I'd like to try to avoid them. Plus you're adding some extra weight. So between the solution and this, you may be over 250. And we could be over it with the solution anyway. I just have to weigh this. So what I need to do is just fill this up with solution and just weigh this separately even. And that would give us the total weight for the drone. And here is the controller. Now you got an auto takeoff and landing button, and this is the button you're going to press to start the bubble solution, to turn it on and off, to have it, you know, spray out the bubbles. The trim button, you're going to press this, and then you can press the direction you need to trim, and then press it again, I believe, to X out. I always hated that method because when you're doing the trimming, you can't really fly, so you got to make sure you're, you know, you got control of the drone and it's not really windy conditions. You wouldn't want to try to trim a drone. I like when you have actual trim little, you know, inputs where you can actually use those. On the top here, this is like it's not 3D flips. It says it's like a spin mode. It's not really, I don't think it's spinning on its yaw. The instructions are not real clear on that. It could be where it does those kind of like those big circles as it flies. But it could just be a yaw spin as well, which, you know, you could just do that yourself with the yaw. And then you've got your 3 speed rates here. So that's going to let you switch between the speed rates, a low, medium, high. And then you've got your headless mode if you want to fly, which I don't ever advise doing that. And they, like I said, they give you an extra battery as well. So you get 2 at least in the one that I got. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun. And I love the fact that, you know, it looks like it's under 250 grams. Again, I'll confirm when I go out to fly that this actually is. So, you know, stay tuned. If it's actually 250 or more with the fluid in it, then obviously, you know, you would have to in the U.S. put FAA number on it, and unfortunately get a remote ID module as well. All right, guys, that wraps up the table review portion.